Hey YouTube, today we're going to look at the mini grinder I've got. Things started skipping and jumping and bouncing all over the place when I was working with it. So first I thought it was the disc. When I looked at the disc it was fine. But then I realized that the output shaft was wobbling. So I knew something inside was toast. So I opened it up and it turned out that the bearing was gone. So I've got a new bearing. Okay, I don't think this is going to be a long-term fix, if it's going to be a fix at all. Because if the bushing down here is gone, right there, then the bearing's not going to make much different. There's your drive gear. So basically all I've done is I've taken this apart and I've put the new bearing on. So we're going to put it back in the hub. You can see the space for the hub there and the 3 retaining screws. Okay, so you may have to clean this area here to get it in. I might have to, oh, there we go. Now it's got retaining screws, so it's not a big press fit. I was able to get it in with my fingers, see? So then you take your retaining screws, and that's what holds the bearing. Now I don't have any on me, and I don't know why there's none on these, but if I had any on me, I'd be putting some blue Loctite on these. Make sure you keep any dirt out, because if you can see in there, there's a grease in there. I believe it's bentonite grease, but I'm not sure. Okay, so there it is with your 3 retaining screws. So I put them in fairly snug. So now we got to put the gearing on it. And for that, we need the gear. Now you'll notice there's a keyway. That's a Woodruff key. Woodruff key is the one that's the half moon. So there's a spot on the shaft where the Woodruff key goes. And then slide her on. Now see, the Woodruff key popped out. If that does that a lot, could be a couple of things. One, you might have it in wrong. Yep, that keeps popping out. One thing you can do to prevent that is just take a little bit of grease, pop it in the hole, and that'll actually help hold it in place. And it of course wants to make a liar at me. It's not easy to do when you're on camera. There we go. Got it. Now the keepers on this thing are a spring washer. This thing's beveled on a couple edges. And then a clip. Now the tool that I have for that's broken, so I'm going to make do. If I can find the tool that I had for that. This will work. Okay. So now all we got to do is put it in there. Get a little bit of grease on the spline there. There we go. So this is just 4 screws. Whenever you're doing a plate like this, the best thing to do is get them all started. Don't snug any down. Because if you're off just by a little bit, you'll never get that last one in. Just make sure they all had their lock washers on them. Now I'm not liking the way that's feeling. No, there's something wrong there. Let's see if we can find out what happened. Okay. I think what it was is it sat down on top of another spline instead of in between. So we'll tighten her again, see what happens. See how it's moving now. That's the way it should have been. So that bearing I think cost me $7. So if this works even for a little while, I have a tiling job I've got to do, so if it gets through that tiling job, then it was worth $7. Okay, there we go. That's a good sign. Now this, it's got the dimples on it and stuff. It's wavy. That is so that this can spin around. So, wouldn't hurt to put a little bit of grease of some sort on it. That just goes there. It's indented, so it can only go on one way. And I'm just now realizing, see the tooth there? Tooth matches with that. So I've got this on backwards. It's easy enough to fix. I'll do that real quick. So another tip that you can plainly see from what I'm doing here is when you take these off, mark their direction. If I had to mark this direction, I wouldn't be making this step, right? I took it off in a hurry because I was running to town, so I figured I'd see if I could get a bearing. It never pays to rush, you always end up taking longer. At least that's my experience anyway. Alright, so turn this around. Make sure that still turns. So basically what's going to happen now is once I get this back together, I'm going to test it. if you're watching this video, you're going to have to realize that I got it to work. If didn't get it to work, you'll never see this video. So all we got left now is put in the last screw. Slam her together. That goes there. See, it gives it the tooth is the direction that it turns. Put these on. And again, until you get them all good and tight, get them all good and started. Don't tighten them down all the way. Especially on something like this where it's got a spring gasket in it, because they'll wreak all kinds of havoc on you. Okay, so all that's left is to put the adapters on. See, there you go, beautiful. So we'll put the adapters on and I'll give it a test, and like I said, if it's successful, you'll be seeing this video. Thanks for watching, and we will see you next time.